Hey guys, what's up? Daniel here. Today I wanted to do a quick video comparing the iPhone 6 to the Samsung Galaxy S6. Now I wanted to do this very casually, just talk about my opinions on both devices, what I think about them, what's better and what's not better, and give you a non-biased point of view of both, just in case you're looking into both of these to purchase or you're just curious about both of these phones. The first thing that I want to talk about is that both of these phones, for the first time in my opinion, are finally on par with each other. Both of them have great build qualities, both of them are sealed up and you can't access it, you can't change the batteries, you can't change the storage capacities. What you buy is what you get, and there's no way to change that. Many people haven't liked that. They're saying that Samsung is going away from what Galaxy owners liked, but they're matching up Apple and they're doing what's working for Apple. So props to them, and hopefully it works out. But the main difference here is, of course, this is all aluminum, and we got an aluminum band around this one with a Gorilla Glass 4 back, which won't scratch very much since Gorilla Glass 4 doesn't scratch very easily. We also got glass on the front and glass here. Both of these glasses are great and they won't scratch even if you don't have screen protectors on it. So it goes as far as to say, I go as far as to say that this one's even better build quality than the iPhone 6 this time around. And that's mainly because the aluminum on the sides here feels a little bit more premium than the aluminum used on the iPhone 6. Even if that's not the case, it certainly feels like it. It just feels like a heavier duty aluminum. And then the glass back feels very industrial and very business-like, which just makes me feel like I got what I paid for with this one. And this one feels a little bit on the cheaper side. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but this aluminum does not feel like the aluminum that was on the iPhone 5S. This aluminum felt great. It feels very high quality, but the iPhone 6 one, it almost seems like as if it was a plastic. And I spoke about this in my fake iPhone versus the real iPhone. Both aluminums almost looked and felt like the same thing, which is kind of crazy. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why the iPhone 6 feels like this. But it's just, my opinion that this feels not very high end and not very solid. It's very light, it's very thin. And this one's also very light and very thin. But this one manages to somehow feel more premium, more industrial, more businessy, and more worth the $750. Now moving on from the hardware, which both are great, we have the software, which is arguably a little bit more important considering this is what you're using every single day and looking at, the software. We have iOS 8 right here on the iPhone 6, and we have the latest version of Android Lollipop, on the Samsung Galaxy S6. Android Lollipop is amazing, but this has a skin called TouchWiz if you've never heard of it, but you probably have if you've had a Galaxy or heard of Galaxy before. And I don't like it at all. It's been improved heavily over the past few years. It's taking more and more cues from stock Android, but it still manages to somehow not be on par with stock Android. It just has icons that I don't like. I feel it's a bit like just full of things that I don't need. It's a little bit just scattered all over the place. Whereas on the iPhone, you know what you're getting. It's just a simple row of icons. You can't change anything. Apple has preset it like that unless you jailbreak it. And, I usually just prefer this. I don't like messing around with it too much. But if you like the customization aspect, you always want to go with an Android device. You can change the themes, you can change the launchers, you can change the icons. Any aspect of the phone you can pretty much change without having to actually root it or, jailbreak it in the case of an iPhone. And that's a great thing. But one of the things about the software is the app stores. We have Google Play on here, and then we got the App Store over here. Both of them have been doing a really good job of outing apps all the time. They're not like Windows Phone, which doesn't get very many apps. But Apple's always had a leg up on the App Store front, and that's mainly because they were one of the first big app stores. And, they kind of introduced apps and made them what they are today. And they're always getting new apps. They're always getting the exclusives, and that's mainly due to the amount of money Apple has, but also developers want to get in on the iOS software because they feel like they can reach more people. On here, you got HBO Now, which just came out. You have Periscope, which is still iOS only. developers don't really tend to go and develop an app thinking, hey, we're going to go and build an app for Android first, then if we have time, we'll build it for iPhone as well. No, they usually tend to go for iPhone first, get a lot of buzz on there, like Periscope or Vine and things like that. And then once they have enough buzz, people are saying, hey, why aren't you making it for Android? Why aren't you making it for Android? Then it finally comes out for Android. It's all over Engadget and The Verge, and then people download it on Android. If it would have been the other way around, it would not have worked out as well. And that's one of the things why you keep getting new apps on the iOS App Store and not that many new apps on the Google Play Store. Now, it goes without saying that you can find pretty much any important app on Android as you can on the iPhone. You know, you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, all the important apps, any social network, anything like that. And most of the famous apps today are on both platforms and on many platforms. So most likely, if you're not like me that has, you know, a tons of pages of apps with different of the latest games and things like that, you're going to find every single app on the S5 or the S6, and you're going to find every single app from the S6 on the iPhone 6, depending on whatever you go to choose. So, you know, just keep that in mind. You can definitely replace your phone that you have right now to any of these phones. You'll have the exact same features, but, you know, different features depending on what software you go with. One of the biggest deciding factors on phones today are the cameras and the camera quality, because you want to take pictures for Instagram, you want to take selfies, etc., etc. So we have a 60 megapixel right here on the Samsung, and we have an 8 megapixel on the iPhone. Based on megapixels, you would think the S6 is much better, but Apple has proven that 8 megapixels is enough to make the pictures you take good. And you know, we've had 8 megapixels on an iPhone for years now, and you know, other companies are taking out 40 megapixels and things, and they still haven't really been able to match Apple's quality of pictures, and that's just mainly due to aperture, software, and everything working together to take a good enough picture. Now, I tested both of these out, and I can tell you straight out, the better camera in most occasions is going to be probably the S6, although they're very close. And I'm going to tell you why. You might see some pictures I'll put up on the screen, but usually most of the time, this one was better focused when used on autofocus. It was more crisp. I could zoom in a whole lot more to the pictures without losing too much quality. And this was the exact opposite. Now, the thing about this one that's good is that most of the times, and almost 100% of the time, the colors on this one were better when there's a lot of light. When there's a lot of light, this one right here for some reason tends to oversaturate the pictures and, you know, add too much green or add too much red. And that can of course be fixed in post, but if you're going to post for Instagram or anything like that, you might get the better picture most of the time with the iPhone 6. And, you know, but if you're going to edit and post process and things like that, you'll probably get a better picture to use with the S6. So the S6 is more like a real camera, while the iPhone 6 is more of a good portable camera. But both have its pros, both have its cons, and you can't really choose either of these phones based on the camera. They're both great. They'll both be great in different occasions. So depending on which phone you go with, they will both have a great camera. So no need to worry there. This one has Ultra HD recording, which is amazing, and this one just has 1080p, but the colors on this one are amazing as well. This one will perform best under good lighting and usually better than this one, but under bad lighting, this one's going to perform better, and this one just does really bad. The iPhone 6 is pretty bad under average lighting, especially at night. Yeah, that pretty much settles the camera thing. Both pretty much the exact same thing. Different goods and bads, just how the same thing with the hardware and the same thing with other parts of the software. And that's why I'm saying that both of these phones, for the first time ever, are on par, and you cannot go wrong what phone you choose this time around. You know, if you don't care about Apple or Samsung, then either way you're going to be good. If you have MacBooks, if you want an iWatch, you're obviously going to have to get this one right here, the iPhone. If you want Android Wear, or you have PCs and things and you don't care about the phone necessarily having the same apps as the computer and things running smoothly between all devices and things and every phone sounding at the exact same time, then you might want to get the Galaxy. Because the reason people are getting this is if you have a Mac, then when you get a call here, it's going to sound on your Mac, it's going to sound on your iPad. Apple's trying to get the consumers to have every single product of theirs so that everything combines and merges together, kind of how Windows is doing with all the new Windows devices, everything works and all the apps work on all the Windows devices, kind of like that. But you don't have Samsung doing that. And if you have a normal computer and you don't care about connection between your computer and phone, you want those to be separate things, you might be better off with the Samsung as an actual standalone device. Now, with that said, the battery life on both of these is okay. I mean, it's definitely better on the Samsung, and it pretty much always will be until Apple stops deciding that the thinness is more important than the battery. But this one's not as great as I thought it would be. It's not better than the iPhone 6 Plus. Definitely better than this one right here. I haven't tried it enough to tell you exactly, but the iPhone 6's battery is okay. It'll last you maybe a day if you don't use it too much. This one will definitely last you a day, but even if you start watching like 4 movies or something like that, both of these devices won't really give you the movie experience for watching 4 movies and still having some left over to respond to emails, make calls, and things like that. But definitely over battery life, you got to give it to the S6. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this, guys. If you have any specific questions about both of these devices, I'm always on Twitter at RMRDNL or at Dark Gadgets. And you can always contact me, message me, comment down below. I always get back to you guys. I never ignore your messages. If I take too long to respond, it's because something's going on. And I've just been off for a few days. But aside from that, that's the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the iPhone 6. Whichever you choose, you can't go wrong this year. Both of these devices are great. And, you get a lot of customization options. You get a lot of no worries with this one because you don't got to do anything to it. And this one, you don't got to do anything to it either, but you can if you want. And yeah, guys, that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.